everyone, I'm the Young Millennial Budget. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about my 2022 financial goals and what I decided to set for myself and how I plan on achieving them. If you do happen to like the video today, please don't forget to like, comment below, and subscribe because it really does help out my channel and I love interacting with you guys down in the comments. And I'll also drop the link for my Instagram down below in case you're interested in hearing about more financial content from me or just seeing what's on my mind. But now I'll go right into the video. So here's a little background about me. I've never actually specified my specific age, but now I will, just because it's a little bit relevant to one of my goals. I am 25 years old, renting in the outskirts of a high cost of living city with $34,200 in student loan debt, but I do have a $17,550 sinking fund that I plan on depositing after the federal forbearance is up. I'm also interested in Coast Fire and achieving it, and I'm currently working a contract job in healthcare that ends in June 2022. And this is very significant because I don't have a job lined up for after my contract job is over, which gives me a little bit of financial insecurity. However, this contract job should open up a lot of doors for me within my profession, where I'll hopefully be making about double the income I'm currently making, if not more. So I'm really, really excited for the opportunities that can present themselves. My second goal is to invest $1,300 into the stock market through my brokerage. This may seem like a random number. However, that's how much I was able to invest randomly and spontaneously into my brokerage account last year. So I'd like to match that this year, if not exceed it. My third goal is to generate $1,000 in side hustle or passive income. I have never before tracked my side income or passive income, but after using YNAB, which is short for You Need a Budget, I realized I can more easily track that, and I would really like to do that going forward just to see if I can continue to grow what that side hustle and passive income is, just because maybe it'll be something that is sustainable or just a different source of income that will help alleviate the financial burden of life. And some of those side hustle or passive income sources I've already had has been referral codes through Rakuten and Robinhood in the past to my friends and family, dividends from stocks I was already purchasing, and cash back on my credit card in addition to interest payments from my high yield savings account. This year I'd actually just like to track that and see if I can grow it. My fourth goal is to max out my Roth IRA with $6,000. I have this included in my financial goals this year because I have a little bit of financial insecurity and I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it. But when I am at a place in my life where I know I can consistently do it, by that I mean max out my Roth IRA every year. I probably won't include it in my financial goals, but for now it has a place. And last but not least, I plan to increase my net worth by 50% of my total net income. I'll calculate my total net income based off of what is on my income versus expense report on YNAB at the end of the year, taking that number, dividing it in half, and hopefully my net worth has increased by at least that number. I plan on achieving this by paying down my debt and consistently investing, and hopefully my investments increase in the market. And I'm hoping that will give me a little bit of wiggle room in case I have some decreases in cash flow or big expenses that may decrease my net worth throughout the year. So on to the next goals. So these are my other financial goals. One, I would like to stack up my sinking funds. 2021 really was a slap in my face financially because I swear I was having back to back $1,300, $400, $500 expenses, and it really taught me that I need to have a cash reserve for expensive expenses. So I'm really prioritizing kind of stacking up those sinking funds this year. I'd also like to create a roadmap for my Coast Fire journey. Essentially, I want to calculate my Coast Fire number and see how much I have to increase my monthly income by, and or how much I have to invest in the stock market in order for me to achieve Coast Fire faster. And I plan on sharing that here on this channel. Some other goals that I'm continuing from last year and hopefully for the rest of my life is to remain 1 month ahead. It really does give me a lot of peace of mind knowing that next month's bills are going to be completely covered and I won't be living paycheck to paycheck. So remaining 1 month ahead is very important to me, and I'm hoping to continue doing this for the rest of my life. Second, I would like to continue investing up to my company match. I know some people have mixed emotions about contributing to your retirement accounts while in debt. However, my company match is a part of my total benefits package, and I'd always like to take advantage of that. So I just like to continue investing up to my company match no matter where I'm working. And lastly, I'd like to donate or sell an article of clothing for each new clothing item purchased. This is a bit of a personal/financial goal. I would like to explore maybe selling stuff on Poshmark or Depop, but it's not like a priority for me. And by no means am I any kind of minimalist, but I do like to reduce clutter. So I think that this goal will help me potentially financially, but at the very least personally, because I feel like I do not work well with clutter. So that's where that one's coming from. I started it last year and I'd like to continue as long as I can. Here you can see I rearranged my main goals into the SMART goal format, which is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. And that time-bound deadline will be December 31st, 2022. However, the Roth IRA does have a little bit more leeway because the deadline for that is actually April 15th, 2023, which is tax day. However, I'm hoping I can max out that account within this year. But let me just walk you through these goals. When you take my actual student loan balance of $34,200 and subtract my sinking fund balance of $17,750, I should have a starting balance of $16,650, and I'd like to reduce that balance in half. So that will cost me $8,325. My reach goal is to reduce the balance down to $5,000, and that would cost me an additional $3,325. And the total cost will either be $8,325 or $11,650 if I'm able to achieve my reach goal. Some may ask why my reach goal isn't zero. It's because I have no idea if I'll be able to bring in an additional $5,000 to make that goal a true zero balance. In addition to that, I know this is very, very, very controversial, but I am interested in hearing what anyone has to say down in the comments. But Biden is currently the president of the United States, and part of his campaign was talking about student loan forgiveness. He has been able to give student loan forgiveness to hundreds of thousands of people here in the U.S. already. However, I was not included in the bills that have passed. I am interested to see if any kind of legislation will come out during his presidency. And in addition to that, I'm just not prioritizing my debt payoff right now. So those are some of the different reasons as to why I won't be trying to pay off all of my student loans this year unless I just have an excess of money and it's something I can easily do. But I'd like to hear some of y'all's opinions about student loan forgiveness down in the comments. But yeah, my other goal is to max out my Roth IRA. We all know the balance is $6,000. I'm hoping to achieve that within this year. And there's no reach goal because you can't contribute more than that. My brokerage account, my goal balance is the $1,300 to match how much I had put into my account last year. And my reach is $3,700. It may seem like a random number, but essentially last year I invested $1,300. If I was able to invest $3,700 this year, I'd have a nice clean number of $5,000 invested in my brokerage. And that's single-handedly the reason how I came to these numbers. So to achieve my reach goal for my brokerage, it would cost me an additional $2,400 on top of the original goal for a total of $3,700. For side income, my starting balance is $0. I plan on tracking it starting this January, and I'm hoping that by the end of this year, I'm able to generate $1,000 in side income. And I don't currently have a reach goal because I've never tracked this before. I don't know how attainable this goal is until I have the data to support it. But for now, I think $1,000 is a healthy amount. So the total cost of all of these goals is $16,625, and my reach goals would bring me to a balance of $22,350. Ironically, though, the side income one isn't something that I'm spending money towards, I'm generating. So you could technically say that my total balance is $15,625 towards my goals, and the reach goal balance would be $21,350. But I just added it for clarity, if that makes any sense. So I'm excited to see how close I am to achieving all my goals by the end of this year. Here are the list of the sinking funds I think are very, very important for me to fund this year, because these were some of my most expensive expenses last year. So first and foremost, my emergency fund. My starting balance is $5,500. My goal balance is $6,000. This kind of comes from my new 1 month ahead category, which it cost me about $1,950 to be myself each month. So I want to have about a 3-month sinking fund in my emergency fund balance. So that would be $6,000. And my reach goal would be $10,000. And I know that's a huge jump. That's an additional $4,000. However, I'll probably explain this more in a different video, but I do have this 3-month sinking fund currently sitting on my YNAB and in my Ally savings account. And it's kind of my buffer for when I finish my contract job. I'm giving myself about $3,900 to sustain myself in the city that I'm in before I end up maybe moving back to my parents' house. And if hopefully I land something in the area immediately after my contract job is up, then I'll be able to just put all of that 3-month fund right into my emergency fund, and that $10,000 reach goal would be so much more attainable, if that makes any sense. So it's either going to cost me $500 or $4,500, and I'm interested to see how the year goes. My second goal is to add more money to my medical fund. So right now I have a balance of $680, and I typically contribute about $20 a month. You can do the math yourself. I know $20 a month is not going to bring me anywhere near my goal balance of $1,900, but the cost right now will be $1,220. I'm hoping to kind of sporadically fund this fund. Maybe I'll eventually change it on YNAB, but for right now, I feel like the idea of actually increasing my monthly expenses again is just something I cannot cope with, if that makes any sense. So the reason why I want to increase my medical sinking fund up to $1,900 is because this year I'm turning 26, which means I'm getting kicked off of my parents' insurance. And I kind of just modeled this $1,900 off of my current job's high deductible plan, and their deductible is $1,900. So I'd like to have that saved up for when I'm officially kicked off of my parents' plan. So that's where that's coming from. And that's also why I revealed my age in this video. I'd also like to save $3,000 towards my vacation funds. I spent $3,000 on vacations last year, and I almost feel like I didn't do much. So I know at a minimum, I probably need about $3,000 for a vacation because I'd like to continue traveling. That's one of the things I was very excited for after finishing school. It's unfortunate that we're still going through this global pandemic, but I hope to be able to travel safely. So that will cost me $3,000. My car expenses sinking fund. Whew. Oh my gosh, my car cost me so much money last year with the back-to-back accidents. I didn't get into any accidents, but my car got into 2. So I think at a minimum, I'd like to have about $4,000 saved up in my car expenses. This number kind of comes from the average cost of these accidents that I was having in my Corolla were about $2,000 each time it was hit by another car. So I'm like, Now I'm driving a larger Jeep SUV and the parts are more expensive. So I'm already getting my car fixed at the mechanic at this very moment, and that's going to cost me $2,265, I believe. And since the Jeep is more expensive, I just want to be prepared for more expensive repairs. I'm literally just changing 3 parts in my car, and the 3 parts plus the labor is that $2,300-ish. So I think $4,000 is a healthy amount, plus it covers my deductibles through my insurance. So that was a mouthful. But essentially all my sinking funds, I'd like to add about $8,720. And if I was able to achieve my reach goals, that would be $12,720. And in a weird way, I feel like this is just not enough money, because these are the main sinking funds in my YNAB and in my accounts. And I feel like I wouldn't feel secure if each time I looked at my accounts, I only saw $12,720. I know that there are other things that kind of accumulate money, like my clothing fund and hair, skin, and nails, and just other miscellaneous 1 month expenses. But for now, these are the 4 main categories I'd like to grow. Here is my timeline. It may seem random, but I realized something I do not like is small progress. Not in the whole aspect of like contributing over time. I understand that, but I feel like there's a lot of instant gratification of fully funding one goal and then moving on to the next, versus maybe putting $20 towards each goal and waiting till the end of the year to achieve all of them, if that makes any sense. So I plan on front loading specific goals during specific segments of time. I don't know if I'll be able to stick to the schedule, but I think this is what is best for me. This month of January and in February, I plan on front loading as much money as I can into my Roth IRA and my brokerage. The reasoning for this and why I chose them first is because time in the market beats timing the market. I have proof of this just from my investments last year in Fidelity, and seeing the things I invested in January grew exponentially more than the money I was able to contribute in September, October. So I'd really like to front load my brokerage and Roth IRA these next 2 months. From March to April, I'd like to stack up my sinking funds. My reasoning for this is my contract job ends at the end of June, and I don't currently have a job lined up, so I want to prepare financially for any kind of expenses that may hit me. So those sinking funds I discussed in the previous slide are the ones that I really, really want to prioritize putting as much money as possible into in March and April. And in May and June, I'd like to prioritize my student loans. And this is because the student loan forbearance ends in May 1st, 2022. So I want to prioritize my monthly payments those 2 months and see how much extra I can put into my student loan balance so I can reduce my monthly payments. You may ask why I don't have the additional months of the year there, but it's because I do not have a job starting June 30th, 2022. And until that changes, I don't want to create unrealistic goals for myself. All of the goals I've already created for myself are completely unachievable to complete before the end of June. However, I feel like I know that something will happen. I will land a job and I'll be able to reach those goals. But for now, this is my timeline. And I'm excited to front load. It gives me so much satisfaction. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Like I said, it really does help out my channel, and I love interacting with you guys. I'll leave my Instagram handle down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.